Today I'm joined with Jonathan Anderson. He used to be in the tech center, tech area, and he has since switched over to massage therapy, which is something that he loves doing because he loves helping people. He does a lot of charity work, and I'm looking forward to this interview. So this is a key conversation with Jonathan Anderson. Jonathan, thanks for joining me. And thanks for hosting me, actually, too.
Thanks for offering, and thanks for us having the chance to sit down and talk together, Mark. Appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
yeah. So we're in your massage studio, which is a detached little shack in your backyard, which is great. Because do you usually have people come through your home to do massage work, or do you go around the side?
I like to offer to welcome someone into my house.
Sure.
I mean, this is part of what, bringing someone into my studio is welcome them into my community. So part of that is to enter my house and then, be part of the practice. So yeah, you don't have to walk around the side.
A little more personal to you're inviting them into your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell me a little bit about how where you grew up, what got you into your first kind of big job type setting, and we'll work forward from there.
I grew up mostly in South Florida. I was actually born in New York City, but very early on I moved to South Florida. So I grew up in South Florida, and then a little bit later on, as I got to adult age, I lived in Atlanta. So I moved to Oregon from Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta for like 22 years, where I worked for many tech companies, from HP to Cisco and all the other names that you would expect. But it was the opportunity to come work for Intel, which is what drew me and my family to relocate, to come out to Oregon, to be here in Lake Oswego.
You already had your family, you had set up everything, so you were in Atlanta when you got the Intel job to come out to Oregon.
Right, absolutely.
And everyone in your family was on board for the Oregon experience after being in Atlanta?
Had to be, because if it wasn't, we wouldn't have moved. We wouldn't have taken the job. So yeah, it was a family decision and preparation, and it was a big change because it would never relocate. My kids that were born there, so for them they'd never lived anywhere else. So it was a big decision, and yeah, we don't regret it. This is absolutely the type of culture and environment and outdoors, the things that the coast, everything that Oregon, that everybody who lives here knows. But if you don't live here, you might not know all those things. But absolutely, yeah, for us, this was the right destination, because I had options on where I could relocate to. So it wasn't only Oregon. I could have moved to Arizona or Southern California, couple other places. But we came out for a site visit here, and we were like, hey, this is where we want to move and transplant and make our new home.
So as far as Intel was concerned, they said, "Oh, you can be in any of these places."
They gave me options.
Intel office.
Yeah, they gave me options to relocate to. This was just one of them.
And when about was that? What year?
About 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, 2015, 2016.
So just before the whole work from home boom.
You mean before the COVID?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
The nice way of saying it is work from home boom, but yes.
Yeah. It absolutely, that was the right timing. And yeah, we really, our number one, when we did decide to come here, the neighborhood, the culture was really the primary driver, or the radius of the school system, the education, was actually our number one criteria for where our house would be. So thankfully, so we're here in Lake Oswego.
So you've been in Lake Oswego since you moved to Oregon?
Right.
Okay. Because I know there's an Intel office in Beaverton near where I live.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if...
Nope.
Yeah, so you went to there's a Lake Oswego Intel office? Or...
No, but I just drove to
you went
Hillsboro.
To Hillsboro, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, you can't get much better than Lake Oswego. I mean, especially where you are right now, I notice it's just so quiet.
Yeah.
Right here, and you're only like, 2 or 3 blocks from the lake?
Yeah.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a beautiful area. I can only imagine what it is during the spring and summer with all the trees you have in the backyard there.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, moving forward, what got you into thinking that you needed a career change, and then with that career change, was massage therapy always something that you had thought about?
Well, the career change was initiated not voluntarily. It was through to downturn and basically the situation that Intel winded up being in and having multiple levels of cuts.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the driver to rethink, and for me, meaningfulness was always my deepest kind of impact and passion. And with all the products that I built and sold, although I was good at it, it was never fulfilling in a soulful, meaningful way. So I became good at it and I enjoyed doing it, and I found meaningfulness outside of work, with my family and friends. But when faced with having to reset which direction do I go in now, having the chance to have a clean slate, and look at what my next phase would look like, what I would do, what I would spend my energy on and pour my energy into, I decided to look at massage because it was always an important thing for me, not just from the touch aspect, but from the connection and having an impact on someone, how they feel. So that had me explore. I went and took a look around the programs and what kind of work people were doing. I feel like I found the best school that I chose to go into. And for me, it was not just about getting the education. Different than probably a lot of my classmates, while I was in school, I was already looking at advanced training and certifications and specialty areas where I could have the most impact. I didn't want to come out being a deep tissue Swedish massage therapist. I wanted to differentiate myself. This was a reset for myself. So I wanted to make sure that I gravitated towards things that had more impact and meaningfulness to me. And then as I executed those and interacted with people who needed help in specialty areas, that's where I wanted to focus. So I don't know if you want to talk about the focus areas now.
Yeah, what exactly is your focus now that you brought that up? Yeah, absolutely.
So really, the most impactful part of touch and massage for me was actually what drew me into massage was oncology massage. So through my life, I've had friends and family who've survived and not survived cancer. And one of the things that I learned was that massage is actually a complementary therapy to people, not just post-treatment, but actually there's higher levels of understanding, and not just on technique, but on being able to work with someone who's dealing and fighting for their life, who is at the worst part of their life, and touch is the last thing that is their priority. So to be able to create space for someone and to allow them to actually, in many cases, get pain relief or reduce inflammation so that they can continue the treatment, so that they can have the best outcome possible from what the doctor's prescribing for them from a cancer perspective. Having that ability to be able to help people get through it was really what drew me into massage. It has opened other doors, but that was my primary door of access, was oncology massage. What goes along with that, it makes sense, is a lot of the lymphatic system, manual lymphatic drainage, also working with cosmetic clients as well who have some of the similar inflammation that you do from an oncology perspective. So all that around swelling, healing, those kind of aspects on the physical side from the trauma of surgery and injury, that was my first foray into massage. But then my other two focus areas are athletic recovery. So I am interested in the pattern of use or overuse for different types of, whether it's an athlete, if it's a dancer, a pickleball player, things like that. So I spend the time to understand the things that are typically used, overused, and I approach it from the aspect of being able to help people achieve their personal records or to get to the elite level, because if you don't incorporate recovery with your advanced training, you'll stall or plateau. So this is to help those people get to their maximum level on their goals. And then the opposite, or the bookend of the athletic recovery is if someone gets injured,
Right.
how do they get back to being their best as quickly as possible? So that's kind of the athletic.
Well, you can also just from not having the recovery from a normal routine, you can also injure yourself that way.
Absolutely.
So definitely the recovery part of the massage therapy with athletes, definitely that can help as far as not getting injured.
Right.
Yeah.
Preventatively.
Preventative,
Yeah.
yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other modality or style that I really enjoy is a Hawaiian style called Lomi Lomi. And I gravitated towards that because actually one of my instructors when I was going through school said that was her most favorite style, and I had never heard of it. So I went off on my own and I started to look into it, and then I went out and took advanced training on it. But what really the focus of that is instead of where typically you do massage two-dimensionally where you push down, you work on someone and you work on their one particular part of their body. Lomi Lomi is a lot more three-dimensional. It's a more flowing type of thing, and it's designed to make the client feel like they're in water.
Okay.
So it's a lot more movement-based, and it just makes more sense to me as far as like incorporating a different type of. You don't have to use. You can be very therapeutic and not have to use as much direct pressure downwards because you're approaching the body as a three-dimensional object.
Okay.
So those are the three styles: oncology, athletic recovery, and Lomi Lomi. Those are what I really specialize in.
And where did you go to school for each one?
The primary massage training, I went to East West College here in Portland.
Okay.
I think it's the best school in the state. But the additional training, I went on my own. I went to Boston to do the oncology training, which is one of the meccas of cancer research. Yeah. So I was privileged enough to have two instructors in that class, and they were both very experienced. One was not only was a oncology massage therapist, but dealing with like a death doula. So she had been dealing with caring for people at their worst way before there was things in books. She was just doing it. She was just doing it. So she had just such knowledge and experience, and it was wonderful to. And then I guess the other really important aspect, luckily in my class, was one of my classmates was a surviving cancer member themselves. So they were massage therapists diagnosed with cancer. So they were able to really walk us through the perspective of who our clients were, what their mindset is like, what they're thinking about, what they're dealing with, rather than just the bookwork, the knowledge, the technique. It was like the full aspect of what it is that you're getting into so that you can be best prepared and understand where they're coming from.
That's extremely helpful to have that insight.
It was, and it really like gained my confidence, and it gained I feel like my ability to connect with people outside of oncology because of that level of establishing that rapport and trust with someone.
I think it also helps with you have the empathy because you've been told how it is.
Yes.
So the empathy definitely it ups that ante. As opposed to someone doing oncology and not really knowing how the other side feels.
Completely agree, and that actually separate from my whole background of tech as an experience. In my DNA, my superpower is empathy. Mm-hmm. So that had already been there, but this technique allowed me to channel that and to have a perspective of how to help heal and be present for someone who's dealing with something like that. So yeah, I really appreciate you realizing that, because that's actually it wasn't stated by me, but that's in my soul. So yeah.
Yeah, I think anyone who's doing massage therapy, if you don't have the empathy, it's not going to be right for you.
Yeah.
I think because you're healing somebody, you're helping somebody heal, whether they're not injured or not. You know, so that actually brings up another question I had was, what type of injury or what type of ailment would people have that they might not know that massage therapy might help with?
So I would say a lot of flexibility, range of motion, you know, and then there's also, because a lot of people know what they should do, and they don't, and a lot of people intend to, but they just don't have the time. Or they don't know, or they're an elite athlete, and then something happens where they get injured that's outside of their control. You know what I mean? But I would say the majority of it is people just really time dividing their life and not having sufficient time to prepare and unwind after whatever it is that they do to keep themselves healthy.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And those kind of things make it very easy to overuse or overwork a particular area. And then if they, and if they have to stop doing it, then they've like lost all that ground that they made in doing it. So they, you know, they'll keep doing it until they get injured, and then that's when they stop doing it. So yeah, there is a real important part, just like you do, like when you do wind up getting sidelined with an injury and you do physical therapy, you know, you have like some kind of procedure or surgery done, and then you know that you have to do the physical therapy in order to fully recover back to your maximum. Well, it's very similar with massage therapy. You know what I mean? It's the recovery part of the activities that you do to allow you to be able to do it stronger, harder, or to recover back to where you were the fastest.
Yeah.
That's really the way to look at it. Is it's the complementary part to whatever it is that you do as a movement or activity to be able to do it to your maximum extent that you want to.
What in your previous in the tech field, what part of that relates well with going into massage therapy?
I think probably from a people and cultural perspective, I worked in global roles most of my career as well too. So I had to very much come at things with the approach of being open and also being informed about other people. Making sure that you and in massage, whether doesn't matter what your background is, what your sexual orientation is. If you are a massage therapist, you have to be able to be open and create the same safe space for whoever it is that comes to see you.
Right.
You can't say, oh, okay, well, I pick and I want to work on. That's not how it is. You know what I mean? So if you are there to care, you have to be prepared, and not just for you, but you have to be able to also help someone else who may or may not have that comfort level, so that you can let them disarm as well that you're there to help them. You know what I mean? That's all there is to it. So there's the physical body part, mechanical, working on muscles and joints, and things like that as far as body tissue goes. But there's also the entire additional level of creating a safe space and a place where people can relax while they're there on your table. Because if you do a perfect massage and you also don't create a place where someone can relax and they're guarding or they're thinking about something, or you can do a perfect massage and it will feel terrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you're able to add and allow someone to relax and let their mind and their spirit add to that healing, the results of the work that you do on their muscles will be increased or amplified. So I would say my career, really set me up, my previous career, on just understanding of different peoples and cultures, and then just allowed me to apply that in this kind of real new culture.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing massage therapy? I know it's fairly new, but not really new for you. But
Yeah, I as my own practice, I have my own practice now for about a half a year.
okay. And were you with a different, like a company before that?
No,
Okay, you were just training up to that point.
training up until that point, yeah, and making sure that because there's options for how you know become a massage therapist,
Yeah.
and looking at my choices, I absolutely wanted to create a full experience and be able to iterate and listen and learn for the people that I work with. So the space, how I approach things is all around me listening and learning and iterating and not having to filter that through or get permission from somebody else. It's like absolutely what helps the most,
Yeah.
and then being able to try it and then see and let other people tell me if that really works for them or not. So yeah, it's allowed me to accelerate the rate and the iteration of what I like to be able to offer to the community.
Sure. Sure. I've always wondered how difficult it is for a male massage therapist as opposed to a female massage therapist. I mean, I'm sure there's difficulties for both, but how is that as far as your clientele? Like, do you have the same percentage of males to females, or how hard is it to gain that trust from a male or a female for that matter? I know there's a lot of guys that don't want to be touched by another guy. There's women who are very guarded who don't want to be touched by a guy. So how do you get around that?
It's not something you get around. It's something that you work with and you deal with. You have to deal with it, eyes wide open and engage. And a lot of it is dealt with by who you are. And this is such a referral based kind of business. So it's interconnected. So when you have people that do decide to allow you to touch them and to heal them, and you do a good enough job where they feel trust, they feel taken care of, and they feel like it's a safe space, they'll then in turn let other people who they know. And that's also for me, is as the things that you had mentioned, because of how much energy and giving and nurturing that I put into my massage, it's also a match for me as well.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's not the primary thing, but it does matter to me. I don't want to just work with anyone. I want to actually, I'm focused on wellness and people who want to take care of themselves or improve themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it is a give and take. But specifically, I learned and knew going into this, how few male therapists there are.
Right.
And then I just work with it. So, it's nothing that I can change, meaning like, I'm who I am, and I also don't worry or judge or guard on what people bring,
Right.
because this has been a very enlightening experience to be witness to some people finding out or having pushed down, suppressed things that they hadn't realized that, or that they had blocked out, that touch manifest.
Right.
So you have to be able to understand that you are in that arena. So you have to be able to not only create but maintain that trust and that space for someone, that if something comes up that they didn't anticipate, that they just need a moment. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's something that so it is absolutely a top priority and a place where you have to be open. And like I said, it's not only create a space, but maintain that space.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's the harder part is maintaining that space. Because when you first meet someone and you first touch them, like if I only massage someone one time, it's very conservative, the first session, because you're not only getting to know their body and their pattern of their use and what challenges they have, but you know what I mean? It's an exchange of energy. It's getting to know someone. They get to know you. So that first session is usually really, kind of just like an opening.
Right.
And then if someone does have chronic injury or a wellness thing that they want to make progress on, you have to be able to get to lower levels to be able to work with them and actually help them gain to make improvements on. So that's a journey of trust that you both go down in order to be able to make that progress.
It's almost like the first massage that you have with a client is an interview for both of you. To
for
see
your bodies and your minds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To see if you want to keep going with the same person, because it's like you said, it's a two-way street. What is the most dramatic improvement you've seen in someone that you've worked with?
There is a single mom attorney who had chronic lower back pain. And it was basically a counterintuitive situation where she wants to train, and then the training was aggravating and hurting her back. So it was stopping her, preventing her from getting to her goals. And she wants to do half marathons and stuff like that. So she was really in a conundrum where she couldn't advance anymore because as she pushed, it injured herself. And then it prevented her from doing her goals. And, that was, so, So I first worked with her, kind of did an assessment and, a therapeutic massage. And then she gave me because one of the important things, anyone that I work with, whether I work with them one time or as a regular client, I do an intake with them to assess, let them tell me what brought them here, what their challenges are, what do they want improvement on, what do they want to work on and focus on. And then I marry that with what I detect and I feel when I start to touch their body, as far as because sometimes there's things that are not conscious to a person, or that might be the root of the problem. The pain is here, but that's not where the source of the pain is coming from. Sure. You know what I mean? So you kind of marry what that person's body tells you and what they tell you as their trouble points. But that's the intake and the treatment process. But after you work with someone, after they leave you and you do something to help them, your body it basically tests whether or not it can relax. Because you can manually make a muscle relax. You can release it where it will relax. But if the underlying challenge is not resolved, it'll check and then it will go back because it's like the problem is not solved. Yeah. So in a lot of cases, someone will get relief for a day or two and then they're right back where they were. I felt okay for the day, but then 2 days later, I was right back where I was before.
So in that kind of a situation, you weren't treating the root of the problem,
right?
Because you didn't know exactly what the root was,
right?
You were treating the problem at its not at its source, but at an endpoint,
right?
In a sense,
that's correct.
Okay.
And then so in her case, you asked me what was the most dramatic, you know what I mean? So no matter who I work with, I follow up with them. I'm like, how are you feeling? You know what I mean? And it's not like a pat on the back, oh, I feel great. It's perfectly fine, and it's not uncommon that I'm a little bit sore. Or I don't feel that anymore, but now all of a sudden I'm feeling this, and I hadn't felt that before because this one place is relaxed, but now you follow what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a mapping. Yeah. It's a mapping and a journey of unwinding it to what the actual root cause is, if it can be taken care of, dealt with massage. You know what I mean? Yeah. If massage isn't complementary to some other physical therapy or something like that. But in her case, we got her to the point where she was feeling so good after, a week, 2 weeks after a massage that it became like a maintenance. She was like, I now see the importance of treating it proactively, preventatively, rather than just when I can't do my exercise. I actually feel so much better, you know what I mean, on an ongoing basis. And that's very rewarding for me. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. Well, you're changing her life.
That's the way she put it.
Yeah, yeah. Because before that, yeah, she's in pain, and all of a sudden, with proper maintenance, so to speak, yeah,
I mean, I
that's
want to
huge.
add. Thank you. I want to add one thing to that since you bring that up specifically. And I really love when I learn. It's not a requirement, but I create the opportunity, if it exists, that when I work with someone, whether it's the husband, the wife, the aunt, uncle, when I work on one person, and then because they feel better, they then in turn can then help somebody else out in their life more.
Sure.
Then I feel like I've helped that, I've impacted more than that one person.
Right.
I've worked on one person, but the result of me working with them goes beyond that scope.
Right.
And that is like the most rewarding, you know what I mean, is to know that I've helped someone that now can do that other thing, help that other person where they were like not able to lift their kid or, that kind of a thing. That is like magic. It's like, because I only touch one person, but the result is across multiple people. I love that when that's the outcome. And that's the case with that one client that you were asking me about.
So, building upon that, you do a lot of charity work.
One of the things that drives me is, I came from nothing as far as from my family and my upbringing. So I fought for everything that I learned, had access to, and as a result, I have that as a passion to just try and, if possible, make things easier for other people. Because as hard as it was for me, other people did things to allow me to have access, even though I had to do the work.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So any time you pay it forward on the opportunity you have, you should and you must. But in this case, I've served on a school program, a Montessori school program that's multi-site, because that's really, I think, important, because a lot of that style of learning is really beautiful, where they actually, I don't know if you're familiar or not, but they basically do it where it's more of a European style school education, where in each form, there's 3 years of age in each classroom.
Okay.
So instead of just 1 year per age, each classroom setting has 3 years of range. And it's amazing when they go through this cycle multiple times because, for example, my daughter is the youngest. I have a son and a daughter. My daughter is the youngest, but she would have always been the baby because she's the youngest.
Sure.
But going through the school program systems, Montessori, she became the big fish multiple times, and it kind of stretches them and teaches them to be, to grow.
Sure.
And to give back as part of it. So it's automatically built in, this kind of culture and community-based thing. So being part of helping this school program survive COVID and go across multiple campuses and stuff like that, it was really rewarding. So that was one aspect of giving back. But another is the robotics outreach program for the state. So there's a robotics outreach program, or TOP, that their mission is really to give opportunity for the have-nots and for girls to be more oriented or access to STEM programs. So in this case, robotics, they donate equipment, knowledge, create tournaments, competition, and it's really about trying to level the playing field around technology. And in many cases, it takes a program to be able to call on and have resources available into a smaller community that wouldn't have had the resources otherwise to be able to do something like that. But they can build a team, and then they can go compete against other really big, strong teams and then grow.
So in that kind of a situation, you're kind of like a mentor kind of a thing, or are you drawing on your intel time kind of a thing?
Both. It's really, it's a nonprofit, right? So it's like whatever is needed, whatever experience you have, if you can leverage it to help the organization, you raise your hand and you just roll your sleeves up and you start doing it. And then if there is something where, and we try to be diverse, not just on culture, but on experience, industry, so that we're more broad. So it's really, and then if there something is required and identified and no one has it, then we have to basically agree as a board to go solicit and bring that resource in so that we can add that new aspect or asset into the program, kind of a thing. So it's we exhaust within each other first, but we know that if it's something that's needed, and if it's going to better the program, we'll do what we need to do to add it and then make it better.
And I think you also mentioned that you do some charity massage therapy. Mainly, I think it's mainly for oncology patients, or is it a wide range?
It's mainly for oncology. It's beyond that. Yeah. So massage is important enough that everyone should have access to it.
Sure.
And there are, so I do offer, and I do, on a case-by-case basis because, my resources, my time. But if someone is in valid need, pain, and I can incorporate, I basically mark off a certain amount of my time as giving back. So I'll reduce like my rate to like below market rate because, as far as charity work goes, I want to invest in people even if they are not able to afford the market rate, but they're interested in taking care of themselves, wellness for the long term.
Right.
Then I'm willing to invest my time. You know what I mean? So it's not like so that's really what that's the skin in the game that I like to look for, is that if I'm going to be giving of my time, that I'm interested in working with someone who has a valid need and I have the time to be able to help them, and they're trying to help make themselves better for the long term of their wellness. Right. For me, that's the right match of a rapport to apply myself, and then I don't feel it keeps my energy up. It keeps my it keeps my meaningfulness up, that I'm contributing, I'm giving back, and not everyone can afford it, but doesn't mean that you shouldn't have access to it.
Right. Yeah, if someone really needs it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What advice would you give somebody if they were looking to get into massage therapy as a career?
I guess the advice would be verify what your goal is and what your intent is. Because it's not just like a trade school of learning a skill and then just doing it. It's much more like, think about the space of oncology massage and the mental preparation you need to have to come each time with a clean slate to someone. Like if you treated someone in oncology and then for some reason they took a downturn and they didn't do well.
Yeah.
You need to be able to come to your next oncology client or your next client that's not oncology with a clean slate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think you mentioned that you block out time in between appointments so you can reset yourself.
Yes.
Because there's also that aspect, you have to keep yourself healthy. You have to keep yourself grounded. And I'm sure it takes a lot out of you physically and mentally with each patient.
It does. Thankfully for me, where I learned that is my wife was in a nursing career.
Oh, okay, so that helps. Yeah.
Well, so it prepared me. I for many years when I was doing tech, actually when I first started doing technology, I was like working on circuits and systems, and I was designing things, and if we did it wrong, it would fry, and I was like, oh, we messed up, tomorrow we'll do it again. you don't have that same kind of leave. You can't just disconnect with the opportunity or the experience. And my wife, I admired so much her and other people that are willing to stand in the fire and then be caring and giving, whether or not someone makes it or not, or that kind of thing, and then to be able to come home to their family and go back and do that for their career. So I learned that from my wife. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it didn't, I was eyes wide open going into oncology massage. It wasn't like, oh, okay, this will be really a nice modality. I can really have a lot of impact. I can help people. No, I knew the whole package of what I was signing up for. You know what I mean? And I approached it like, so because of that, I have done the things where, yeah, I do block out sufficient time. I also like to do that, yeah, for me to be able to reset and to be able to clean my slate. But I know what effect it has on clients when you come and there's somebody else at the door waiting for you to get out.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just feel rushed. You feel like it's not your time. You know what I mean? You feel like you're in the way. So to be able to create a space where people who are living life and trying their best, where that time is theirs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That no one's rushing them. They can come in, they can clean their slate, they can get a massage, they can feel better, and then they can leave on their own terms, on their own time. And then I also get the opportunity to reset, have something to eat, keep my energy up, clear my slate. I'm not doing this primarily for the money. I'm doing it for the impact and for the meaningfulness of it. So I am perfectly happy to block off and miss some time of massage to be able to do it for the long term.
Yeah. I look at it as you're enriching your life as well as enriching those you help.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely. How has this new career path changed your life specifically since, coming from the tech industry? I mean, like, what has overall changed in your life for the better, maybe even for the worse, since you began doing this massage therapy that you love to do, that you love helping?
Mm-hmm. It's completely changed what life in the Anderson house looks like. Because I know my wife and I both work. I worked, in the tech field for more than 20 years. At vice president level, very high demands, high pressure, less and less time available for my family. And my kids are both in high school right now. And my wife and I both know that this is the time that we wanted to be most available for our kids.
Sure.
You know what I mean? When most kids are like no support, or no one's checking on them, or making sure that they're giving back, or that they're good people. So me being able to be around more to support them, and in a way that also allows my wife to continue to do what she loves. She's working too much, but she knows she can trust me, and she knows that other than her, it would be only me that she would want to be kind of like leading the charge in the house. So it's changed what life looks like, but it's allowed us to be, because our kids are going to be gone soon. You know what I mean? And we've lived our whole lives without regrets. And this is kind of, it was very hard. It was the hardest career thing I'd ever faced, being let go at Intel, because I had always on my own hand changed roles, and I'd never been out of work since I was 14 years old.
And you didn't see it coming too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not about me on that. But the point is that being able to learn and grow, and to have, probably some of my contemporaries are probably stuck. They may not have that ability to reset themselves and to do something else. And so if it took a forced change for me to be able to now have something that I really enjoy to do, and I really, when someone comes in and they're hurting, and then I can look them in the eye and I say, I think I can help you, and then I work on them, and they relax, and then they leave, they look me in the eye and they say, I feel better. The 20 plus years worked on technology, there was many projects, there's many products that I worked on that I never got to meet who I built it for.
Sure.
I did all that work, my team would do all this work, and then it would be like in a vacuum, and we would never see the impact of the blood, sweat, and tears that we had put into something to build it. So to be able to get that on a daily basis and on a long-term basis with someone, who's really in it for the long haul, how can you do better than that, really? So that's what I do now. That's what I get to do. So even, like I said, even though it was a forced change, I just made lemonade.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it seems like, even like you said, even though it was a forced change, it was still a positive change.
In the end,
it turned into a positive.
Yeah.
You turned it into a positive.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, if you're able to do that, that's huge. We'll go towards a thing I call the key 10.
Okay.
So, and these are just more fun things.
I love that.
So, sweet or salty?
Salty.
Salty. All right. Are you a morning person or a night
Morning
owl?
person.
Morning person. All right. I'm the complete opposite. What would be a go-to comfort movie or TV show for you?
TV show Modern Family.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. Coffee, tea, or something stronger?
Coffee is good.
Yeah. Texts or phone calls?
Phone calls.
Comfort food?
Chili.
Chili's good. I just had that last night, actually. Yeah. Do you make it yourself?
We both are great cooks. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. What is one thing that right now you are currently obsessed with?
I would say right now I'm obsessed with my daughter's eligibility to be in the state wrestling championship in a week and a half from now.
Oh.
My daughter is an avid athlete.
I am going to be photographing that tournament.
Well,
so maybe I'll see you there.
Maybe you'll see me there. But
yeah,
my daughter is a wrestler. She does multiple sports.
The one that's downtown,
the Coliseum,
right? Yeah. I'll be there. I'll be photographing that tournament. Yeah.
Well, I'll look for you. But yeah, she's the only girl from Lake Oswego.
Okay.
Who qualified for state. She was awarded second in the regional tournament.
Very cool.
And so everything, she does lacrosse, she does soccer, she's going to do flag football. She is like she's in water polo. So
all over.
Yeah, and a good kid.
Yeah.
Don't let this be said or recorded without incorporating my son. My son is very different. He is everything is in. He pours everything into certain things.
Oh, okay.
My daughter likes to spread it out.
Yeah.
So my son's on the water polo team that's won 4 out of the last 5 state championships for water polo. Wow. So he's going to be a pilot. So he's absolutely.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah. So you asked me what's on my mind, what's bothering me right now. Right now it is the state championship for wrestling for my daughter.
All right. Well, I mean, that's a great thing to be on your mind, What is one thing you wished people did less of?
Engage with their phones.
Yeah. Always have their head down. Yeah. Beach or a mountain getaway?
That's not fair because I like both. So.
Well, is there something better than the beach or the mountain?
We love to travel, so and on the international scale. So we're very much an experience-based explorer.
Okay.
You know,
Well, then we'll pivot on that and say, what is your most favorite destination
well,
that you've been to?
that's also not fair because
I'm asking the hard questions.
Yeah,
They're
it's
supposed to
okay.
be easy, but
Yeah. Well, because of how much we spent 3 weeks in Germany and Austria like a year and a half ago. We went to Iceland. We just over Christmas did a Panama Canal cruise.
very cool.
You know, but my wife was born and raised in Ireland, so I've been to Ireland about 15 times.
Okay.
You know, but there's so much that we've done in the States and China and France.
I mean, the thing is there's so much beauty in the
Yeah, that's why it was like, and then certain areas have specialty things to offer that, you know what I mean? But when we go, we don't just like to go to the tourist things and then turn around and walk away. We always make sure that we incorporate the real culture as part of the experience when we go,
right.
which takes extra effort. And it also takes, in these days, extra effort to make sure that you don't wind up being a victim
Sure.
by being that adventurous. You know what I mean? But yeah, but it is so important for us, whether it's just watching a movie here at the house or traveling 8,000 miles away. It's based on an experience is what we're seeking, not just going somewhere and looking at something. It's like, what else is there right around there that it has to offer that's meaningful?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why we went that far, not to just to go, okay, here's a picture of us here, a picture of us there.
Right.
That's not really that valuable.
I've always thought of, as far as presents are concerned, items, sure, they're fine, they're good. Sometimes you really need something, but experiences is where it's at. That's that's what you will take with you for your rest of your life.
Yes.
Those are the presents that you give, or the experiences.
100%.
Yeah. What would be a theme song for you?
The Imperial March.
Nice. Star Wars. Awesome. That's great. That's great. Is there anything you wanted to ask? You wanted to say more of?
I will not leave without appreciating you
Thank you.
for inviting me to have a discussion and to get to, you got to learn a lot about me. I got to learn a little bit about you by the questions that you asked.
Sure.
But yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk out loud, the things that drive me, that are important to me. And even though I'm kind of doing them on my own, it's really refreshing to have to think about it and say it out loud to somebody else.
Sure.
So that's also helpful as well. So thanks for giving me that chance to be able to kind of collect my thoughts. It kind of re-energizes me on what I'm doing. But, I hope this isn't the only time that we collaborate.
I would definitely not. No.
Yeah.
How can people find you?
So the easiest way is my website. It's healing-hands-massage.com.
Okay.
So if they're looking to learn a little bit more about me or about what I have to offer, if they go there, they'll be able to go through and find me.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you for sitting down and putting us up in your studio massage space, your safe space.
Yeah.
I appreciate the time with you.
Thank you, Mark.
Absolutely. Thank you. We'll see you next time. It's been Jonathan Anderson with massage therapy and helping people's lives.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
What'd you think?
I loved it.
Yeah?
That was a lot of fun.